So welcome to lesson 3, organizing clips. It's a really important chapter. It's also fairly long, so I think this is going to take about 2 weeks for you to finish. So this goes over libraries, the browser, the viewer, favorites, keywords, a whole bunch of stuff that's really important. But it's all about organizing your clips and being able to find them quickly. You can assign ratings, you can make smart collections, and you can assign roles. So we're going to go over all of that in this lesson. So as you probably figured out by now in your quick times, you can pause anytime you want, or you can go back, you can watch them in different weeks or however you want to do it. But definitely you need to go through the chapter and follow along with that and do the stuff in there to learn this in the most complete way possible. So starting with lesson 3, organizing clips, the book talks about, it references a source file from the current storage location, and it switches to the copied version if you imported the clip. So when you import, if you remember from last time, if you import media, and let's just pick something, and then if you import it, basically you get that menu that looks a lot like, get rid of this thing, looks the same as this menu. So you can decide whether you want to leave in place or copy the library. So it'll read from whichever place you chose right there. So and when you bring in the clips, it brings in any metadata from your camera or your card. So metadata could be camera, time of day, time code, anything like that that's on there. Okay, so now we're going to go to section 3.1 and talk about the libraries and the stuff in there. So we have the library here. We're using lifted from last week. If you don't have it, you need to make a new library, file a new library, and call it lifted. And then you can import all of your footage that comes with the book. If you can't do that, let me know. I should have been able to do it from last week, but I can go through that whole exercise right now just to show you. So I go File, New Library. Where am I going to put it? In my case, I'm going to put it on my external drive this time, a little different from last week. So if I can find it. My book, there we go. And then I'll say lifted lesson 3. So you can see it go in there. Okay, there's lifted lesson 3, and then if you remember last week we made a thing called primary media, so I'll call this primary media. Okay, so I've got primary media. Now I want to import stuff into there. So file, I can import media. I'll do it right here this time, import media. And I'm going to navigate to where my media is. In my case, it's on my desktop. So Rena Walsinger, desktop, and I've got Final Cut 10.1. And then I've got all these lessons. So I can take any of these lessons and just import the whole folder. So I can do them at the same time if I use the command key. I think that ought to do it. Let's see what happens. Import them into primary media. Yes. Leave files in place. Yes. And I'm going to make folders. So see what happens. Okay, so there's my primary media and all my folders. So it's as easy as that. It made all the folders from there. Now I could have done something different. I could have, from there, I could have imported files, import media, and then done it a different way. I could have just taken one of these things. So let's say I did just the sound effects file, which is helicopter. So what's going to happen is I would just get that folder in. Or for example, I could just take the aerials. Let me do that. So I should have a folder called aerials, which I do. So all of the different shots are in there. So I don't have to label my files that way. Now if you import and your files aren't labeled, you're going to have to go and do this all manually. So Now, I also got a people folder when it did that. And what it did is it gave me files that are different shots. So close-up shot, medium shot, a one-person shot, which is the same as a close-up. And it found a two-person shot, which is really a one-person shot with something happening there. So it creates its own what's called smart collections if you have the people thing checked. So that's pretty handy. Okay, so moving on in the book, it goes over the viewer's contents and skimming clips, which I've been doing. So you can just take your mouse as long as this window is active and skim. If you've got another window active, it's not going to skim, right? You have to be in the right window to skim. So if it's not doing it, just click somewhere in there and it'll start skimming. And then you can look at the little picture here or the big picture over here because it's going to duplicate. So notice if I'm here, it's the picture that where my mouse is. If I'm in the timeline window, I'm going to switch to seeing whatever my mouse is looking at down there. So this entire window switches depending on which is active. So your browser or your timeline down there. So let's go on to section 3.2, using keywords. Keywords are really fun. All it is making the names of your folders and putting your clips in there. So, and keywords they're denoted by a blue folder and they have a little key on them. There's a key down here and you can see if you hover your mouse over the key, there's a shortcut which is Command K. So if I go there, I can type in anything I want in any of these places and those will be my key commands. So we're gonna learn how to do that right now. And right now it's coming up with the key commands that I already have on this clip because I had done this before. So following the book, we're looking at, it says if a clip's content started with the helicopter takeoff and ended with the helicopter landing, you might apply 3 keywords: the helicopter, the takeoff, and the landing. And so those are 3 keywords you can apply to a clip. So for example, this looks like a helicopter clip, but they're probably referring to a specific clip. And you can put as many keywords as you want to help you find the clip. So it looks like they're on 9420, which I'm on. So I can, with that clip here, I can make keywords. So I can go ahead and I'm just going to type some in there. All right, so 9420. Whoop. So I'm on clip 9420. So let's try some things. So if I go, I'll use the ones the book says helicopter. Now as soon as I hit return, you're going to see the word kind of fly into the clip. And it should do that, I think. And then I'm going to type takeoff and landing. All right, there it went in there, so that worked. Take off. There we go, landing. Oop, I think keep hitting the wrong button. Okay, I'm just going to use this one. So another way I could have done that is I can use these buttons to do it. So I can go and just type landing, then I can just hit Control 1 or this button and the word goes in here. So that clip now has all the words I need to have on it. Landing, takeoff, and it's supposed to have helicopter. Try that again. Helicopter. All right, there we go. So if I just switch clips and go back to this one, you can see it has all 3 of the keywords on it. So it seems to me the easiest thing to do is use these buttons, and you can delete them. It doesn't affect the clip, but what does affect the clip is when you delete them up here. Okay, so be careful. Down here these are just kind of shortcuts for you to use, but this is actually what's attached to the clip. Now if I hover my mouse over here, I think there's a viewer that you can use here, and you can see the information on it. Let's see if I could find it. Okay, I found it here in the view menu, view show skimmer info, or command Y. So if I go around here and I hover over, you can see the name of the clip, DN9420, the keywords I put on it, helicopter landing and takeoff, and the time code of that clip. So wherever I am in that clip. Very handy. Okay, so a keyword is not a subclip. We're going to do something different later called favorites that will be a subclip. Now, how do you know you have a keyword? There's a blue stripe over it, means it's been keyworded, corresponding to the blue key. So it's all kind of color coded. So on a test or a quiz, if you see something with a blue line on it, you know it has a keyword tag on it. And in fact, that follows through in the software with they have smart collections, which we'll be learning in a little bit, that are purple, and then you would see a purple line. So another thing about the keywords is if you open up the disclosure triangle, and if you can't see it, you can make this bigger or smaller here. You can see the name of the keywords there, and in fact there's a key next to it. So you can see what's going on there. All right, so exercise 3.2.1, keywording a clip. That's where we are now. And in the blue note, those are usually important. It says the import folders as keyword collections options during media import is also available when dragging folders from the Finder directly into event. So last time we talked about dragging folders right in there, and they will also become keywords as long as the keyword thing is selected in your preferences. So preferences, import. So make sure these are selected keywords from Finder tags, from folders, and if you want to find people. So as long as those are checked, it'll make your keywords for you when you drag a file from the desktop. I do that all the time, especially with like still images that I add later. And this is the part of the book that goes through some things I went through last time, so I'll repeat it, where you can have different views. So you can have the film strip view, which shows, and you can make that bigger or smaller, which helps if you're searching for certain clips and you can kind of see them all really fast. Or this one is called the list view. So in this lesson, they're using the film strip view, so I'll go to there. And then this is also where it shows how the gear icon works that I mentioned last week. We're now in this view, you can sort by different things, and they have it sorted by name and ascending. So I'll go ahead and change it to that. So it's in alphabetical order now. Then it also tells you how many clips you have there. So it says there's 38 clips, 14 minutes of footage. Another thing they have is there's a little icon down here, and this is the clip height and the waveform. So if you want to see the waveforms, which is the audio, you can click it there. And the clip height makes them bigger or smaller. And again, if you make them really big and you want to see them, actually that doesn't work in here. Clip height. I was thinking if you zoom in, you can hit Command Z, but that doesn't work for the clip height thing. So make it however you're comfortable looking at the clips. So that's what those buttons are there. And remember, those are only in the film strip view. If you're in the list view, those buttons disappear, okay? So if you want those buttons, they're only here in the film strip view. That was one of the things that confused me when I first started doing this, is where did my buttons go? Okay. So now let's add a keyword collection for some of the things in this footage. So one of the things in there that's obvious is interviews. So I can add a new keyword in a whole bunch of different ways. I can come up here and I can do a new keyword collection, or Shift Command K, or what I usually do is just come over here. I can use this and make a keyword collection. So there's a bunch of different ways. So in the book I think they have 3 ways. So here's some stuff that came in with one of the interview footage of this guy Nick. So if I want to add interviews to that, interviews. Get that to fly in. Okay, so now I got a new folder called interviews. And that clip I just had, it's now marked with the interviews. So that is exactly what I want. So I can look at all my clips now, and I can just drag them. I'm going to use the shift key and then pick all the interview clips and just drag them all in there. Drag them in there. Interviews. So there they are. All my interviews are all in that folder. Now remember, they're still all in the event primary media folder, right? Everything is in there. Oh, there's one I forgot. That looks like it could be interview. Oh, it looks like it's not interview. He's doing other stuff. And notice I got my keyword collections. The reason there's a purple line on there too is because remember I had the people thing. So those shots are also in these smart collections for people. So that's why I've got different things. So there's all my interview shots, as easy as that. Let's say I want B-roll, which is extra footage. So let's see if there's some B-roll, and there is. Flying around, that would be B-roll. So let me just look at one of these and add a new thing, B-roll. And then I've got this B-roll. I can add my other aerial clips up there to the B-roll collection. And maybe some of these also. There I go. All my B-rolls in one place as well. And in the book it goes over removing things you don't want for keywords. So I imported a folder called LV import. So if I select all those clips, I'll just hit Command A, and then I can take out, oh, my thing disappeared. Let me just check one clip. There we go. I guess they all didn't have it on there. So if it says LV import here and I remove it, then it goes out of those clips. So whichever one I chose, there you go. It doesn't have that in there anymore. Let me choose some more and then get rid of that word. My computer's not behaving, sorry. Alright, so there's one. Take it out. So another way to demonstrate that same thing is now I've gone to the interviews and every single clip has this LV import on there. So if I don't want it, I just simply select all my clips, which I've done, pick that thing I don't like and hit delete, and now those clips should not have that on there anymore, although I see that didn't work. So I think this is different than what the book is telling me it can do. I have to go individually and delete them, I think. So that differs from the book. So this next section is just how to use this window better. So let me go look at all my clips. And on number 3 in this section, there's a part that shows you some keywords that you can use for this particular project. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that. So B-roll. And basically I'm just assigning shortcuts here. Hanger. So that I can just click these whenever I want to. Pre-flight. Take off, in-flight, landing, and flight controls. Okay, so I don't need these right now. So whichever of these I click on when I select a clip, I can click on whatever I want to click and add them to there. So on number 4, it shows you some clips, 9390, 9446. So I'm going to use my list view right now. It's easier for me. 9390, because they should be in order. 9390 and 9446. So I'll use my command key. And it says those are B-roll clips and pre-flight clips. So I can just hit pre-flight and add that on. Pre-flight. And what else did it say? B-roll. Okay, so now those clips have those keywords on. It's that simple. You just click on the words that you chose. So if I go and look at the B-roll, again, everything I've chosen is there, and you can see the keyword if you move the triangle. So what you should really do is there's a section that's called Keyword Collection, and it has a bunch of clips in the book, and it says Keyword Collection 5D-70. And what you should do is add the keywords to the clips shown in the grid. So it starts with DN9287 and it ends with DN9453. And then the next page after that, 9454 to 9503. So do all of those clips. And then it has some image clips as well. Images are still pictures. So if I went to my primary media, see, there's different kinds of things here. These are, here it is, image 6476. Oh, I guess these aren't still images. These are still videos. So add keywords to collections to those as well. And you can see I've done it, but mine are not matching the book. So if I was going to do these 3 images, I'll do those 3 as an example. And they get in flight. So I click in flight. And they get, let's see, make sure that clicked, and they get flight controls. All right, so now if I go to in flight, which I just added here, all those things there, and flight controls. So let's see, and I think one of these weren't flight controls, like maybe that one. So if that one I didn't want flight controls on there, again, just click flight controls and take it off of that one. So now I just got these 2 clips in there. So very easy to use. So the last part of the section has you assigning keywords to the GoPro. Remember, you have to mount the disk image first. So I'll double click it or it won't show up. I unmounted it from last time. So in fact, there we go. Let me import that whole thing again. So I'll just hit import all, and I'll make a new event, or I'll just add that and call it GoPro. So now I have a new folder called GoPro with all of these in them. So I can do the same thing, pull out my keyword thing, and then apply any keywords I want to those. And in the book, they have it's the same things, run up and in flight and all that. So you can see what the clip name is. For example, GoPro 3, they want you to add run up. So looks like I don't have that there. So run up. So I can just have that selected and then just click run up. And there it goes on that clip. So go ahead and do all of those. So you can also make a sub clip and apply a keyword to it. So in this part in the book, we're using clip 9287, where there's a helicopter ramping up and then it's going to take off. So if I just wanted the part before it took off, I can, it said about 18 seconds, which I can do. I'm going to hit, you can actually see up there, 18. I can use my left and right arrow keys as well to get exactly where I want to be. I'll just do 18, hit out, and I can apply a keyword to just that part. So in fact, the run up can go there. See what they use in the book. They use, I think they use take off. Oh, they use ramp. Okay. So I'm going to type the word ramp in here, R-A-M-P, and then I'm going to apply it to that subclip, ramp. So this is interesting now. So we have the clip. So you can see I have the entire clip, and this is how you can tell it's different. Look at the duration. So the whole clip is 31 seconds long, which is this one. And my subclip ramp is 18 seconds long. So if I click on just that one, you'll see an 18-second long clip. So you can get the clip or the whole clip, and it shows you what your selection was. So you can see the whole clip or subclip that way. And it saves your selection, so in the future when you go back you can see what you're using, what you didn't use. So that's a kind of newer feature in the software that I like a lot. So that would be a subclip of the master clip, and that's a very popular thing to use in editing. So now for the rest of the clip, if I want to do the takeoff part, I'll just select that one. I'll delete one of these so I ran out of room. Take off. and apply that. So there. So now I've got 3 clips in there, 2 sub clips and then the longer clip. So take off, and you can see how it's denoted there, ramp, and then the entire clip. So the next thing we're going to do is talk about these columns here in the browser. These are really handy for finding clips, and I'm just going to make this giant right now for the sake of this lesson. You can drag these around, and it just depends what you're doing, which thing is important. What I do is I take my notes column and usually put it right next to my file name, because those are things that I look at and things that I type when I see a clip, so that I can just search these names later. There's a search button we're going to be using. So I've kind of pre-done these, but all you do is you can click in a space once and then just type. So in the book you can go through and put notes in per how the book says or however you want. So the way I use this in real life is if I've got an interview, I might put something important that they said. So like in this example, the hangar door opens, Mitch goes from left to right. So I'll make this smaller again so you can see what I'm doing. So it gives you an idea of what's in that clip. Here's a sun setting with a helicopter going across. So instead of just the name of the clip from the camera, you can rename all those too, but it's easier to actually go through and add your notes column. So that's exactly what I do. Later on in the search, you can just search like something like hangar, if I can type right. And there, anything within the word hangar comes up, so you can find it right away. I'm going to click that so I get all of them back. So it's a fantastic tool. Another place that the notes appear, which is really interesting, is in the inspector. So I have this clip selected. If I go to the inspector, which is this thing on the far right of the dashboard right before the share menu, there's some different tags up here. There's information on the video, information on the audio, and info and share. So what we're going to look right now is info. So you can see the notes there. So if you just want to type there, you can type there as well. And this is where it has your roles, what role that's assigned to. Is it right here? It's B-roll, which that got that from the keyword collection, the duration and the start and end of that clip. So all the information on that clip. In fact, this is really a good menu to know, because you can see right here all the codecs of the clip. So this is 1280 by 720. If you have other, for example, 1920 by 1080 in a different frame rate, you can see the different things right here. And if you have a problem, you can go see if you have different file formats. So the next thing we're going to talk is a favorite, and this is another way of creating a subclip. So I'm going to go to my interviews, and there's this clip 1042. Let's go ahead and listen to that clip.
Flying is...
It's going to get to show up somewhere. Get rid of that. There we go.
Something I've had a passion for since I was a little kid. Flying is something I've had a passion for since I was a little kid. I mean, I grew up in Hurst, Texas, where Bell Helicopter was actually designed and built, the Hueys and the...
So that might be too much information. And so if I want to select something else, I'm going to just stop at flying was a passion when I was a little kid. I can just use my in and out keys.
Flying is something I've had a passion for since I was a little kid. I mean, I grew...
So, and then I can go kind of listen and see if I did that right.
I was a little kid. I mean...
And if I want to make that a favorite, it's really easy. There's a green star down here that I can click as a favorite, or I can hit the letter F. So if I come up here and click F, which I usually do, I get a green bar. And under that clip, I get a subclip as the favorite clip. And again, the duration is going to show that it's shorter, right, than the original clip. So I can easily get to the part that I chose. And it's nice, Final Cut will remember anything that I marked previously. So I get this favorite clip. Later on, what I can do is I can just show favorites up here, favorites, and only favorite clips will be shown. So anything with the star will be shown. So that's pretty handy. I need to go back to all clips in order to see everything else. So once I get that, I might want to make a note, and I'm going to type passion when kid, or whatever would strike your memory. So later on, you can just search for, what was that clip that he called? Something about passion. Just type it there and it shows up. Very simple. So let's say I picked another part of the clip here.
Hurst, Texas, where Bell Helicopter was actually designed and built.
I want to get the Bell helicopter part.
I grew up in Hurst, Texas, where Bell Helicopter was actually designed.
So let's just say that was a favorite. So I click F there and I make another favorite. But then I decide later that's a garbage clip, so I don't really want it. So
and built the.
So what I can do then is just, I can right click and then remove all keywords from there, or unmark. So it's the U button, unmark, and I get rid of that one favorite clip, and you can see the green went away. So that's pretty simple to unmark a favorite. So if I want to, there's another thing besides favorites, rejected clips, and to be honest, I don't use that one very much, if at all, but I'll show you how it works anyways. So I'm picking a GoPro clip here, 1857, and I can play this clip through. Maybe it's just too boring and it's too noisy and stuff, so I'll create a selection here at the end. Just taking pictures of an iPad and stuff, and hit reject, or you can see it here, the reject button, or it's the delete key. I usually just hit the button, and you get a red mark showing that you don't like that part. So in here again, you see the rejected clip, which is shorter, the rejected section, and you can also always sort by show rejected or hide rejected. So if I hide rejected, I'm not going to see that clip show up there. Go back to all clips. So, and then if I decide I don't want to reject it, it was okay, I can right click and then unmark. So there you go. That's rejected clips. Now, you can have two favorites in a clip. So I'm going to show you that case in MVI 1043. I've got one that says I labeled imagery technical something. So let me play that.
One thing that is interesting, when we are flying and shooting and filming at the same time, you're kind of overcome by the imagery of what you're shooting. As a pilot, I get very technical and inspired by making sure that we capture the image inside the frame of what we're shooting. So
now I decide later on I want another favorite.
Of directors and cinematic feel of what we need to capture and convey that to the cinematographer as well. So as I'm technically flying the aircraft and watching what we're doing, I'm also in awe of what we're actually filming and what we're experiencing. So
So it was, I can make that a favorite now, F. And then that was like, he said some keywords in there. Let me play it again.
And watching what we're doing, I'm also in awe of what we're actually filming. As I'm technically flying the aircraft and
technically flying the aircraft, so I can just type something like that. Technically flying. So I've got two favorites there. And you can see when I click on them, it shows you where that part of the clip is. The next thing you should do is go ahead and, in the book, just before reference 3/4s, make some favorites and label them according to the grid in the book. And that'll be perfect practice. The next section in the book is it's kind of like a fun toy, all the different ways you can search for stuff. So reference 3.4, search, sort, and filter. So first it goes through all the different filter settings. So if you click the magnifying glass, actually they start with the filter pop-up menu. And that provides a way to look at all the clips. So let's look at that. So you have all clips, hide rejected, keywords, favorites, rejected, unused. So that's kind of self-explanatory. I'll let you read the book on that. And then the next thing is applying your own filter. So if you click the magnifying glass, this is kind of more interesting. You can add different fields on there. So the plus button is what I use. So you can do media type. So maybe video with audio. Maybe you want to add another media type is just audio. Or see, and you can see on my screen, I just lost a bunch of stuff because I'm searching for all these parameters. Here's just video with audio. If I change it to just audio, looks like I don't have anything there with just audio, but I do if I look in my event. But I just want to see stills. Okay, let me look at my entire library, see if I can find some stills. So is stills. So these are all different ways to search for stuff. So you can make a new smart collection based on these things. For example, I can make a new smart collection based on is audio only. See my audio pop up there on my audio file, and I'll make a new smart collection out of that. And I'll call it audio. I was thinking about it. Okay, so when you choose something audio only, and then it brings up your audio clips, and you click new smart collection, what I got is a purple gear, and it says audio only because that's the new smart collection I created. So that's another way to do things. If I do stills, and let me go here again and see if there's any stills anywhere, and I make a new smart collection, and I crash my program. Perfect. Alright, let me try this again. So audio only, I get the audio stuff. There's no stills in here, so I just confused it. But if I try video only, I've got a clip here with no audio in it, just an overview, so I can make a new smart collection for that. And then it should have said video only, but I'll just title it video only overhead or whatever if I want to. So that's what smart collections are. Collections based on smart searches, and so things that you create. So you can have text, you can have, it says includes, does not include, is or is not. I usually just use includes. And then you can have different things, ratings. So if you want to just have your favorites, for example, be a smart collection, then just have your favorites, and see all these have green buttons. So I'll make a new smart collection and call it favorites. Favorites. So these are just optional things for you to use in case it makes your life easier. It's totally up to you, but it's really fun to play around here and see all the different things you can do. So type, you're going to learn about all these different types of clips, but maybe multicam clips, that's a great smart collection to have. There's a whole nother way to do this, and don't forget to cross out your search so you can see all the clips. You can always do a new, and then any of these things, project, event, library, keyword collection, or smart collection. So I can just do new smart collection here and call it cars, and then just drag clips into it. So now that it's there, if I had something with the cars, I could just drag it in. So that's a whole nother way to do it. It's whatever way that's easier for you. Sometimes you want to make a smart collection based off your keywords, so you can click this, go to keywords, so add that in there, and then you can just say, I want to make a new smart collection with just footage from my 5D or something. So unclick the other ones, and then make a new smart collection and call it 5D-7D only. I can't type. 5D-7D only, for example, and that'll have that footage there. So very handy. So there's another way to do a smart collection, and we know that finding people is a smart collection. So let's say I didn't do it before on the input, but now I want to find my shots with people in it. So here's some shots with this guy in it. So let's select those shots, 1042 through 1055. I'm going to right click and go Analyze and Fix. Now I can click my Find People and then hit OK, and it'll process that. You can see it processing that, and it'll make any smart collections that it can make. So now that I did that, let's look under there and see. So you can see medium shot came up on that one. This clip, we got medium shot one person. So it did make smart collections out of there. So if I look for the folder called people, I'm going to find those shots again here. And the medium shot and one person is what it found. So you can always do your people analyzing later on. So you don't have to do it on the input. You can always do it later using just right-clicking and then analyze and fix. And finally, the last thing in this chapter is roles. Everything has a role that you can assign and export just those roles if you want. That's how you might export just titles or just B-roll or whatever you want. So let me show you where those roles are. And so let's just pick a clip. Let's do an audio clip because it's just easier to show you how that works. So here's an audio clip. So I can go, there's two ways. I usually look in the inspector for that first. And there it comes up and it says roles music. Okay, well that's good. So the different choices are dialogue, music, effects, natural sound, and you can edit your roles. So if you hit edit your roles, and you can just switch to a different one if that's not the right one. So I'm just going to put keep music and hit OK, and there you go. It's also in the menu, modify, edit roles. I never use the menu, but you get the same thing to come up. So later on when we do a story and you decide you want to export all your titles or all your audio or all your B-roll or whatever it is, you can make sure that the things you want to export have the roles that you had in mind. So this 40 minutes of video kind of concludes the background of this software. In the next lesson, what we're going to be doing is picking clips and doing an edit, which is going to be really fun because I can hit the E button all day and put it in a project. So as long as I've got a project going on, which I do somewhere, I can put them in there. So let me open my lifted project. So we're going to be able to start telling our stories.